The trouble is, when you play with the devil, he doesn't play fair. He'll give you everything you want, all the drugs you want, all the women you want, all the promises, and all the power you want. And when he's done with you, he'll kick the legs out from under you.
It sounds like the Broadway play Damn Yankees, where they sell their soul to the devil and they become a champion baseball player.
I never saw that, but that's interesting. And that's why you hear rock stars sometimes say, I sold my soul to the devil. Because once you make that trade, he'll give you what you want. But people need to understand that the devil is not sharing his kingdom with anyone. He's selfish and hateful, and his personality is that of hate and violence. And so as I began to encounter these spirits, from a pleasant person, even though I was a fall-down drug addict, I began to take on the personality of the devil. I began to act. I began to hate. I began to become violent in my card readings.
Began to hate? You must have. You had
hate
no
all
love
the
anyway.
more.
Really?
Oh, hate all the more. And I love to see people hurt. Like, I'd like to do a card reading where I knew a man was committing adultery. I'd name names, and it was just an evil behavior. And so here I was with these spirits operating in this park, cursing people. I cursed one man, said he fell 3 stories into a wheelbarrow. Thank God that wheelbarrow was there, because he would have been killed. I was astral projecting. I was studying all this witchcraft. I thought everything was wonderful. The same spirits, as you said in the opening, that gave me power began to turn on me.
Why would they turn on you?
Because the personality of spirits of darkness is not a nice, friendly personality. You can tell even by people that are deeply involved in witchcraft, the way they dress, the way they act, ghoulish and black nails and dark colors and very strange in their acting.
Like, I used to watch Westerns as a kid, and in the Western, a new guy comes into town and goes and plays poker, and he wins. And the next day he said, boy, these are country bumpkins. I'm going to take them for all they're worth. And he bets everything he has, and the game is fixed. And he loses everything he has.
Excellent. And that's exactly the way it happened, Sid. That's excellent. And that's exactly what had happened to me. I thought I had arrived. But as these spirits began to turn and to torment, the same spirits that gave me power to read cards and astral project and operate in the solical power, the psyche power, would turn on me.
What does that mean? What do you mean, turn on you?
It was as if all of a sudden the same voices that would say, this man is committing adultery, or this woman steals at work, or this girl's going to get married last year, when I was reading cards, would now say to me, you should die. It's better to just die. Said I would walk around with a gun in my mouth. I can remember the metal used to burn my tongue. I would just suck on a gun, waiting for the moment to stop this power that I had entered into, to stop the destruction of my mind. My drugs increased. I would take needles, Sid, and people that were the worst drug addicts in town would not get high with me. I would go into a bathroom and take a needle and bang it into my arms. I had thick growths all the way down. Today you can see they're totally gone, but thick growths and abscesses all the way up and down my arms. In that drug state, I'd go out and become even more promiscuous, hoping that someone would just love me for a little while. And that's what our kids are doing today, Sid. They want somebody to love them for 15 minutes. That's why sex has become an everyday movement. I mean, it's nothing to be 11 years old and to go to bed with your boyfriend that you go to school with. And so here I was, nailing myself with needles, blood coming out, demon possessed from the spirits that I had invited inside, broken. In one particular time in all this story, they locked me up in a mental institution. Sid, they locked me behind a metal door. That's how crazy I got. My arms were full of needle marks. My nose was full of blood from cocaine. They put me in a room, locked me in, because I had now had serum hepatitis, which you get from filthy needles. So they had locked me in a mental institution in the K ward in Meyer Memorial Hospital in Buffalo, New York, with needle marks, with mental crazy screaming in my head, giving me a liquid diet to try to clear up the hepatitis. When they finally let me out, I became pregnant again.
Oh, no.
This time I went to the Erie County State Building in Buffalo, New York, and got a legal abortion. So when I left that medical building that day after that abortion, and still to talk about it, it hurts a little. I remember sitting down for the first time and saying, I wanted that baby. That baby I wanted, because I felt like I had such a low opinion of myself that maybe this child could change things for me. Of course, it was too late. So here I was, I had had 3 abortions, a child that was taken away from me. I was hopelessly drug addicted, and the doctor comes to me and he says to me, you have chronic active hepatitis. Your enzymes are right off the hinges. You probably
What does that mean, chronic?
It means
Hepatitis.
that chronic means it's constantly going on. Active means it's happening right now. And hepatitis B is a very serious form of hepatitis. He told me that my liver was turning into a piece of leather. It was in that state that I decided that it didn't matter if I lived. I increased my drugs, I increased the insanity, increased the promiscuous life, increased hatred, was full of violence, and totally suicidal. And then one day, standing in a bar, serving drinks, stealing from the place, everything they had, stealing and lying and getting high in the bathroom, a young woman approached me named Linda Smith. And you know what, Sid? She really believed in the power of God. She knew I'd experienced the power of darkness, that I knew it was out there, that it worked. But she wanted me to see a higher power, a greater power, that superseded the power that I was operating in.
So what did you think of this, Linda?
I thought that she talked the talk and didn't just, she walked the walk and just didn't talk the talk. A lot of people talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. And Linda just showed the love of God in the way she acted. She didn't come out with all these spiritual lingo comments.
Yeah, but you told me as a kid you didn't care for this Jesus guy.
Because now I was at a place, she was introducing a man to me, a man that didn't rape you, beat you, use you, put you on the streets and stick needles in your arms. A man that was the Son of God who loved you for the way you are, not for 15 minutes, loved you for who you were, and who was able to reach down in that liver and reconstruct it, reach into that belly full of blood from bleeding ulcers, reconstruct and heal that, reach into a mind that was mentally ill, reconstruct that, reach into a heart that's broken, and put it all back together. Just because he's a man who loves mankind, because he was the Son of God.
How'd that happen?
She took me to church. She took me up to Pastor
Why
Tommy
did you
Reed's
go to church?
Because I was dying, and there was no hope. I figured I'm going to die anyway. Let's go see. And you know what really influenced me, to be very honest, in the
Yes.
last few minutes of this program? She acted like a person who didn't just put on a facade of Christianity. She lived it. She walked it. She didn't want to impress anybody, Sid. She wanted to introduce to a dying, demon-possessed tramp witch. She wanted to introduce that human being to a man who'd change her life.
You went into that church.
I
and
walked
what
in.
happened?
I was dressed lewd. I had demons in my eyes. They were screaming all
Most
over out of my
pastors would
mind.
kick you out.
Well, some of them wouldn't have anything to do with me. But Sid, in a very quick moment, I know we're coming to the end of your program, in a quick moment, the man on the platform said, if you need God to touch you, if you need healing in your body, come on up. I took the longest walk of my life. When I got to the platform, and to this day it brings tears to my eyes, Jesus Christ was waiting for me. Within an instant, and I have medical reports, in a moment of a prayer of 1,800 strangers who didn't know my first name, the church stood forth, the blood-bought church began to sing the blood of Jesus. And in a moment, when they began to call on the name that people curse, the name of power and ability, my liver was healed, my stomach was healed, my mind was restored, and I left that church, Sid, never to be the same.